everybody, and welcome to another episode of Spirit Chat. I'm here with my amazing co-host, Winter Brook, and welcome, everybody that I see is coming into the Zoom room. We have a very big treat for you today. We have the most fabulous paranormal investigator, David Cook, here with us. And I know he is going to regale us with lots of tales of cool investigations he's done and things like that. But I don't know if we've had a paranormal investigator on before, Winter. So I'm very excited to have him here. And I can just give everybody a chance to sort of file into the room here. And then I will do a quick intro on David. And please feel free to watch this on Facebook. It's also going to be on YouTube. Just want to check to make sure it made it to my page. Did
Hi,
it get
everyone.
shared? Okay, great. Just want to make sure it's
Before
on.
you introduce David, Mari, do you want to let folks know, because we have some new folks, what you do, and I'll let them know what I do, and then we'll shift and introduce David.
Sure, I'll give a brief introduction for people that haven't been here. My name is Mari Cartagenova, but since that's kind of a mouthful, I go by Medium Mari, and I am a psychic medium and animal communicator. I feel very blessed to be able to work with the spirit world and to help other people heal through these experiences. And I'm grateful to be able to be, I don't know, is this our second year doing this show, Winter, with my amazing co-host, Winter Brook? So,
Yeah, second or third. I gotta go back and look. And of course, Mari's a little modest, and I'm not. I like to shout it from the hilltops, the mountaintops. Mari's been voted best psychic, as one of the top psychics, and in our country, she was just featured in the UK Psychics magazine,
yeah.
and she was voted to be the top animal communicator for the readers of Ohm magazine. So she is just shooting up into the sky and just doing wonderfully.
Oh,
Um, so
thank you.
I, on the other hand, I'm just like holding down the fort. I am a psychic medium as well, animal communicator, trance medium, and a physical medium. So I sit in the dark room seances, and I will be a tutor at the International Physical Mediumship Conference to be held this April in Albany with Kai Mugi and Gary Mannion, Bill Bolt, and Vinnie Nar. I also teach for a number of schools, mediumship, and all the other things that I practice, including Lilydale Assembly, um, Camp Chesterfield, Spirit School Vancouver, along with all about 60 libraries on Long Island, universities, etc. So I am super excited that we're doing paranormal. I know I have a question to start off with as soon as Mari gives the introduction for Dave.
All right. Well, thank you for your little introduction. Yeah, I don't know. I guess I forget. I figured people know who I am already since we've been doing this for so long, but that was a good reminder. Thank you. So, without any further ado, introduction to our amazing guest, David Cook. He is a paranormal investigator and the previous host of the very long running KCOR radio's The Ghostly Hour. He has been involved with the paranormal since he was very young. In his teens and 20s, he started seeing things and hearing things from the other side and was able to tell people things that he had no way of knowing about them. Psychic. He knew that he wanted to help others with these amazing gifts. And that's actually why he calls it a gift. And that's what he's been doing all these years, is supporting and helping others with these gifts of his through the paranormal. He set up the Essex Ghost Investigations in the early 2000s, and he has investigated some amazing places in the UK, as well as many private residences. Looking forward to hearing about that. He uses this paranormal experience to help others and is always willing to lend a hand to help other people experiencing paranormal phenomenon. So, without further ado, David Cook.
Thank you
Yay!
very much, ladies, and hello to everyone out there. Hope I can live up to the hype.
So,
Oh, of
David,
course, of course.
I want to put a question out there because it's something I run into frequently with the general public. What is the difference between a ghost and a spirit? Just so they understand.
Oh, where do we start with the terms and the same meanings? We've got so many of them. To
No, I
me,
know.
to me, a ghost is somewhat or an energy that has not had a physical body yet. So it's not actually had a physical existence. It's just born out of pure energy. Does it mean they're bad? No, it doesn't. So don't automatically assume just because they've not been in a physical form that they're bad or anything like that. They're not.
So that would be kind of like maybe a poltergeist that maybe a highly emotionally upset person might emit from their own energy being emotionally.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so somebody who's finding out that their loved one died and they yell, they scream with grief, that could create that energetic imprint.
Oh, definitely. Because the way that we grieve, we open up so much, and that allows the energy to come to us, and we can understand it easier because we're more open, because our mind's more focused on trying to be with that loved one. So therefore, the
Right.
energy is a lot easier to understand. When your
So
mind's clogged up, obviously the energy you can't translate, you can't feel as much because you've got too much going on. So it just puts up like a temporary block.
That's
because
very interesting.
yeah, because there is a distinct, although in the common vernacular, when people talk about ghosts, they mean it to include spirits, which are, deceased loved one or have a intelligence or from another plane, like an angelic plane. Um, so I just wanted you to clarify that for people. They don't, there's so many that don't understand, and because of television, it kind of fuddles it up.
Yeah.
Thank
When it
you.
comes to paranormal stuff and the terminology behind it, even I find it confusing sometimes. I really do. It
Yeah.
is ridiculous the amount of terms that we use. That's why I prefer the term messenger for what I do, because that
Mm.
way it's a lot more straightforward. If you say
It
you're a
adds
psychic, you say you're a medium, they say, well, what's a psychic? What's a medium? You say you're an empath. What's an empath? But if you say you're a messenger, it helps them to understand a lot quicker.
so,
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. And I think some of the words are interchangeable as well, because somebody over across the pond might think of it as one way, or, people sort of have different impressions on all of these things. But I mean, just to say that they are spirits or ghosts and they are coming from the other side to sort of connect with us in some way and give us messages, like you mentioned, I think is an important aspect to that. Um, I was really curious, David, since I was lucky enough to be on your show many times, and I'm so very, very grateful for that. Could you tell us about some of the most interesting or amazing investigations that you have done with your company?
Well, first of all, I reckon I'm the lucky one because you reached out to me to come on my show. So I was blessed to have you on my show. You was very
Oh,
popular. Everyone loves
thank
you.
you. Thank you.
So I want to thank you personally because I don't get many chances to do this now. But I want to thank you personally for taking an interest in my show and wanting to come on it. It really meant the world to me. It really
Oh,
did.
oh, you're welcome. It was so fun.
I tried to make it fun and informative,
Yeah,
because I
exactly.
think if it's fun, you're going to remember it. You're going to remember the
100%.
facts. You're going to remember what was spoke about. Whereas if it's just the normal questions and answers, you're going to forget about it 5 minutes after it's finished.
That's true. That's true.
So, sorry, I forgot the question now. Oh, yeah, some of my
Yeah,
interesting
your
investigations.
investigations. Yeah.
Oh, where do I start? Uh, the scariest one, and for anyone out there, if you ever come across someone who does this paranormal investigating, even if they are a medium or a psychic and they say they've never been scared, they're lying. I'm telling you now, they are lying. We all get scared. No matter what, we all get scared.
Okay, so David, I don't get scared of any of this. I get scared if my daughter's walking by herself at night home from work in Boston because she's been mugged. I don't get scared of the paranormal because I am energy just as they are.
I understand that, but
I don't
this
watch the
incident,
scary movies. I seriously don't. I astral
no,
project. I
this
do it all.
incident actually put me out the paranormal for 6 months.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, let's hear about it.
Yeah.
It was a residential, and I got to speak. Just a quick backstory.
Sure.
It was a friend's son's birthday, so we was at the party. A friend of mine asked me to come and speak to this lady. It turns out it was my friend's aunt, and I got speaking to her. Within 2 minutes, I said to her, "You got a dark shadow in your house," and I said, "It's in your son's bedroom doorway, but it can't get in." And the look on her face straight away told me that I'd got onto something. So she said, "Well, why can't it get in?" I said, "Because the white light is preventing it." And he's sitting in a chair facing the doorway. So she called her son over and he confirmed everything that he saw a dark shadow in the doorway. So she said, "Oh, you'll have to come round and see if you can find out what it is for us." So I'm like, "All right, I'll come round. I ain't got a problem with that." We arranged a date. Now, this is a very important lesson that I learned from this as well. And I emphasize it every time I say this story. If you are not 100% mentally or physically fit, please put it off. Do not go. I made the mistake. It almost cost me and the people that I was helping.
Huh?
Right, so that afternoon I found out my aunt that I was close to passed away. But that's where I should have cancelled it. That's where I should have said I'll come another time. But I thought, now let's see if I can turn what I'm feeling into a strength, into a positive. I did not realise how serious this case was going to get. Basically, as soon as I got into the house, I knew exactly where the bedroom was because I saw the chair facing the doorway. So set up a bit of equipment, took the camera with me. The idiot I took with me, and I say idiot, he was provoking it, which didn't help at all. So he's trying to tell this thing that he don't know what he's doing and all this, that. And all of a sudden, the shadow appeared in the doorway. This is the very short version, by the way, folks, because I know we're limited time. This is the very short version.
Okay.
But it appeared in the doorway, and it literally took up the whole doorway. I mean, top to bottom, width, everything. So I started to get a headache. And then I could hear it say to me, "You want to see what I look like? I show you what I look like." And I kid you not when I'm telling you, the jaw was long, the skin was stretched to the point where it was cracking. It had holes in it where it was stretching so much. It had bugs coming out the mouth, out of the eye sockets, and
Wow.
yeah. So with that, I give me mate the camera. I said, "Look, I've got to go. I've got to get out of here." Because at that point, I knew that it was playing with me. It knew it had me. It knew it could do this. So I went downstairs. I'm shaking really bad because this thing really shook me up. And earlier on in the night, we got an EVP which said my name. And according to my friend, he reckoned I called him when I didn't. So we got a feeling it was the same energy that was causing me to shake. So now I'm now downstairs. I'm trying to calm myself down. My friend's telling me to stop shaking. I said, I can't. I just can't do it. Next thing I know, this thing appeared in front of me, but it was sideways on. And then it just turned and looked at me. And I'm like, yeah, I'm out of here. I'm gone. So I went into the kitchen to try and get away from it. Now, this thing was telling me while I was standing in the kitchen, because it knew I was getting weaker. It knew it. It was telling me to get rid of the family. Now, when I say get rid of the family, I mean literally kill the family. They wanted us to leave the son, because it was after the son's energy. The son was at a certain turning point in his life where he could go one way or the other. So it wanted me to basically kill the family. And even the woman whose house it was, she said, I looked at you and it was not you. She said, I see someone completely different. Thankfully, and I do thank God for this. I don't usually believe in God, but trust me, I thanked him afterwards. The whole room, and I mean literally the whole room, filled with a pure white light. I mean literally the whole room. After a couple of seconds, because I'll be honest with you, I was ready. I was ready to crack. I was ready to grab a knife just to stop it from tormenting me.
Mm.
So thankfully, the white light turned up, cleared the room, and it was like someone come up to me and said, stand up, it's okay now. So I stood up and I was just completely drained. I was literally drained. But after that, it made me question myself. It made me question if I was strong enough to do this. It made me question, should I be doing this? And it took me out of paranormal 6 months. I didn't do messages. I didn't watch nothing to do with paranormal, no videos, no EVP. I did do nothing for 6 months. That's how much it affected me. So if you're not 100% ready, please, folks, put it off until you are. Don't make the same mistake I did. Please, I beg you.
So I'm just going to comment. And of course, everybody's experiences are their own experiences. I completely concur with your advice that if somebody is not stable, they shouldn't engage in metaphysical practices, whether it's paranormal investigation or mediumship. I've had to ask students to not attend classes, because I just found them unstable mentally. I mean, if they're on medication and that's stabling them, then they could definitely participate. But if they're not stable, they shouldn't be practicing in metaphysical arts. So I agree with you there. Number two, I don't have any fear of this. And my reaction to that entity, first of all, they're projecting to you an image. You're seeing it with your clairvoyance because they haven't appeared, with ectoplasm into solid form. So my dad sometimes, when he first died, he would project an image of himself as he was at 84. And I finally said, why are you doing that? You preferred your image and how you looked when you were in World War II. And then he went to the next medium, who kind of got hot under the collar on the platform because he was such a good looking guy. So an entity can project. So you just dismiss what they're trying to show you and then go into your higher self. Just set the intention to go into your soul self, your higher self, expand your energy and throw them, remove them from the location or this plane. You have the power. Unfortunately, a lot of people watch movies or have been taught by when they were little to be frightened of this stuff. So they have their own fears within them in their subconscious. I was not exposed. So as I said, I don't have any fear of this stuff. And I do paranormal investigations from time to time, and I've done clearing with obnoxious ghosts. clients can't, do it themselves. They'll call me in. And I've never had an issue. I've been up to I don't know if you've ever come to the States. We have one of like a haunted house called the Shanley in New York.
No, I've not been over there yet. I plan to.
Yeah, it's kind of, they have their resident ghosts and they do a paranormal investigation. I've brought groups up there. It's fun. I usually hang out with the children who are in spirit that are in the house. They show me around and everything. But I just, you can be afraid of the drugged out addict with a gun trying to rob you. That's going to end your physical life, but not energy, because you got to, you took on, you let your fear, if you become very frightened of something, that will also drain your energy.
Well, like I say, I think it's because I was grieving as well.
Yeah, you were in a
Yeah.
great state
I
of
was
mind.
grieving,
Absolutely.
yeah. So
Yeah.
it knew it could do that to me because I wasn't thinking clear enough.
Right. So I just want to
Yeah.
make it across to people watching that they have the power within themselves if they're in the right state of mind and they understand that they are just as powerful as any other energy being, to say no, they can't attach on me, and to remove them, actually.
Yeah. No, like I say, that's what made me question it afterwards because I knew straight away, as soon as I finished, I made that mistake. I knew it. It was the biggest mistake I will ever make. I will not make that mistake again. But now I've experienced it, I've
Yeah.
learned from it. Because unlike it is
Acting.
now, yeah, unlike it is now, I mean, now we've got people we can reach out to, like yourselves, myself. People can reach out to us. We can help them through our experiences. Back then, I hardly knew anyone I could turn to for any kind of advice, any kind of experience. So basically, I was going in and I was inexperienced within that range of energy because I'd never experienced that kind of energy before. So there was really no one I could turn to say, well, what do I do? How do I handle this? So I'm so glad now that there is people out there that others can turn to if they need to, because now we can help each other, whereas before we just didn't know what to do or who to turn to.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
no, I agree with you 100%. And I think, Winter, while you can totally push the things away and, get into your powerful self and all that, but I think the bottom line, and I think that's what David was talking about, is that we're all human, right? So I have paranormal stuff happening all the time in my house, and I would be lying to say if I wasn't scared sometimes, because it's like a jump scare. Like, you walk into a room and someone jumps at you, like most people I think are going to be scared. So if I'm upstairs and I'm just vibing or whatever I'm doing and the lights start flickering on and off, or, something happens, or I'll go in and the radio will suddenly turn on, like, yeah, I'm scared because I'm like, what happened? And then I was like, okay, wait a second, which one of my relatives is trying to torment me right now? And I'm like, Nana, do you mind? I'm just trying to get some sleep. So I think the initial scare is normal. And I don't think, I think it's okay to normalize that because we are all people and we do all have those reactions. It's just once you have the reaction, like David was saying, like, what do you do with it? And having that experience and knowing how to handle it now is like, that's the progress that we're making in terms of how to deal with these type of paranormal experiences. But I think if I had that experience too, David, I'd be a little freaked out as well, because it does sound, quite scary.
It is when it happens for the first time and you don't know what energy is, what it's capable of, and it affects you in that way, and it knows it can affect you. It does tend to shed a whole new light on what it is we actually do. But I do have a funny story for you.
Would love to hear it.
I've actually, if people said to me now, and I can answer this question honestly and truthfully now, if people ever ask me, have you asked a Ouija board for the lottery numbers? I can say yes, because I have actually done it.
Did you
Okay.
win?
Nah,
Okay.
nah. Turns out it was my granddad, who was known for joking. That's where I get it from. And we was at a place called Coalhouse Fort in Tilbury in Essex. And just before that, yep, County of Essex. Just before that, I ended up in a love triangle between three spirits. I'll tell you about that afterwards if you like. But yeah, we was in a room that had quite a nice sized Ouija board, to be honest, set up. So we got the connection. Turns out it was my granddad. So I've gone, Spirit, can we have the lottery numbers? And the glass that we all had went down to 0. So we're like, yes, get ready, lads. Here we go. We're going to win. We ain't got to go work Monday. So like, right, we're all ready. So the glass moved to 5 and then back to 0. So I'm like, is that 5 or 50? Does anyone know? Because I don't do the lottery. So, and I know that ours has changed over here in the UK. So I didn't know if it was 5 or 50. So the glass moved to 6, then back to 0. Then it went to 7, back to 0. I thought, I see what's happening here. Went to 8, back to 0. I said, Spirit, are you having a laugh with us? The glass moved to yes. So I'm like, go on in, you might as well finish it off. Sure enough, the glass moved to 9, then back to 0. I'm like, yeah, thank you, Spirit.
That's
That is
funny.
funny.
Yeah.
So
Well, they do.
They are funny
Yeah.
and light.
They are.
they're brilliant.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, and
they
I
do
have
like
to just interject here, Mari, don't have any startles when you're in Albany with me in the dark
I
sand.
might. I'm not making you any promises. If something's jumping out at me, I'm going to be startled. Okay, that's
Dakota
what's
got
going to
dragged
happen.
across the floor in the last scary seance. So,
You did?
no, Dakota.
Oh, okay. Well, that's
I was
that sounds
operating the lights. Yeah, no.
okay. Well, it could happen. I'm just warning you, making you no promises.
You'll be with me here in the gray
Yeah.
group. We're doing we're dragging her into the world of physical phenomena. So
Ooh.
yeah.
Yeah, well, I've done some of it. I've studied with Tony, and you know that I've done some of it.
Mhm.
But it's not my main wheelhouse, but I think it's interesting. So, um, but yeah, I think it's very cool, and spirit can work with us in so many different ways. And so, David, when you go on your investigations, like people just call you up for house clearings, or what's your usual type of work that you do?
Usually it's usually through friends of friends. So if they don't have my number, they get in touch with a friend that I've previously investigated,
Mm-hmm.
and then they'll get my details, they'll ring me up, they'll explain what's happening. I try to get them not to give me too much information,
Sure.
because being a psychic medium, I like to go in and I like to try and sort of feel the energy,
Mm-hmm.
perhaps see who it is. Oh, speaking of which, I've got something to tell you afterwards. Through a dream I had, and the name I got. So,
Okay.
yeah, I usually go there, feel the energy. I know there are investigators out there who have like these set questions to ask, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
That really is great because that'll give you all the information you need. But I like to try and relay information.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to try and give the information to the person who's living there, see if they can make any sense of it.
Sure.
Then have a chat about what's going on. I'll leave some equipment running. Perhaps we'll go into a different room where the activity is not so much. Leave equipment running in the room that has the most activity, just so I know that it's locked off, no one's in there. So if we do get anything, it is to be possibly more legit.
Mm-hmm.
So then we'll have a little conversation. I'll go into the room. I'll try and communicate with the spirit, find out why it's there, if it needs help, if there's anything it wants passing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then I'll go back, let the person know. We have another discussion. Then I always get permission as well first, folks. That's one
Yeah.
thing most teams don't do. Ask if they want it filmed. Ask if it's okay to do EVPs, voice recordings, because some of them don't want it. For some of them, it's it's too private for them, which I perfectly respect. You know, I can understand why. So ask permission, see if it's okay to film, see if it's okay to do the voice recordings before you actually start. But yeah, then we have a discussion. I explain what I felt, and then I'll come home, go through the evidence, get back in touch with them, explain to them what I've seen, what I've heard, if there's anything on film, if there's anything on the voice recorders, and then perhaps go back if they want me to and try again. But I'm always on call. I'm not one of these, I'll go in, do the investigation, leave, never hear from me again. I'll always be there afterwards if they need any more information or if they need any more help. So it's not a case of in, investigate, out. It's in, investigate, let them know, be there afterwards if they ever need anything again. But yeah, that is sort of the way I like to go about things.
When you do your investigations, which are prompted by the people calling you for assistance because they are perhaps frightened of or being harassed by, do you communicate with the spirit or evict them if the spirit isn't going to cooperate? I like to call it an eviction.
I like to ask the people who live in there first.
Well,
if they're
yeah,
okay
first I
with
try
it
to
being there.
communicate because sometimes they decide they like their ghost. It's just a matter of communicating.
Right.
Yeah. If obviously they don't want them now, then I do get in touch with the spirit and I explain to them, because the amount I've been to where the spirit's confused because they think that they still live there and that these people are squatting, they've moved into their house, they want them out. And it's like, no, look, you're no longer in the physical form. You're now in spiritual form. You no longer live here. It's now their house. They're welcome for you to stay, but here are the ground rules.
Right.
But if you can't abide by these ground laws, then I'm afraid you're going to have to go. You're going to have to go on to your next life. So I don't force it. I just calmly explain it, because I think if you force it, I'm just going to make things worse for whoever's living there. Because all it's going to do is make it more angry. Whereas if I explain calmly, it's more easier to resolve the problem.
I agree, but sometimes they're resistant to go. I had a child once, spirit child, and the family was very sensitive. And basically, what happened was the child was communicating how she passed away. It was a violent death to the 6-year-old living in the home. And then she was also very jealous. She wanted the mother to be her mother. I felt that need. So, I went in, because they tried saging, they tried asking, because it was upsetting the 6-year-old. She wasn't sleeping, she was becoming anxious. So it was having, fearful experiences for her. And the spirit, because I always loved the spirit children, but this one, she wasn't going to leave. So I had to, you got to go. Boom. And then I found out later she actually went through she had been to several houses in that development, which was built on a farm, which she lived at previously. And that's where she was killed. And then all these homes were built and she went from home to home, particularly when the homes had children, because that's what, she liked to be with ones of her own age. And then she would go, she missed the mommy energy.
Oh, bless her.
So,
Yeah.
but she was causing problems because it wasn't, they would have been happy to have her there, but she kept sharing how she died. She wanted to, share that and explain that to the little 6-year-old child who was having nightmares. So that was the issue. And we couldn't get her to agree not to do that anymore. So I'm like, you got to go because,
Yeah, I've got the same type of relationship with a spirit child myself by the name of Charles. As it goes on, I'm going to be seeing him again soon.
I have a spirit child, Charlie. That's so funny. Same name.
You can't call my one Charlie. Yeah, you can't call my one Charlie. You don't like Charlie. It has to be Charles.
So tell us about Charles.
Oh, he's a great kid. He's a fantastic kid. Unfortunately, this was from Fallance House Museum, which is in Dagenham, in Essex.
Okay.
And unfortunately, he got accused of killing his sister. And no one believed him. No one. He got basically ousted from the family, got called the spawn of Satan, devil's child, everything else. Basically died a pauper, died with nothing. But he had that part of his life that was still unresolved. And I hate the building for doing this. And I hate the people working there for doing this. I understand it from a business aspect, because if you've got a spirit there that's killed someone or something, or you've got a spirit there that tries to actually save someone or something, what's going to sell more tickets? It's going to be the murder. So they've kept this up for so long.
Oh.
And it wasn't until after the first time I went there and I was at work when Charles showed me everything that happened. He showed me that his sister ran down the stairs, not one of his toys that he was playing with. So he's chased after her. She's trod on her lace dress because it was one of those really long ones. She's fell forward. Unfortunately, hit her head on the floor, broke her neck. Unfortunately, she died. But as she fell, she gave out this massive scream. Charles has put his hands out to try and grab her. Unfortunately, missed. The maid was walking across the top of the stairway. As she looked over, she saw Charles with his hands out. So she assumed he pushed her. So she's gone and told the lord of the house, which was Charles's dad. And that's when he got accused of murdering her and got accused of all the names and everything else. But he never done it. But for some reason, the people there just won't believe him. So he's of case for, well, if that's the way they're going to treat me, then that's the way I'm going to be. So he was going around playing jokes on people. He's doing this and scaring people and everything else because that's how they portrayed him. They did not see him as he was. So whenever I go there now, he's always with me. And the worst part is, he takes better photographs than what I do. Serious.
That's funny.
I was walking around with my phone. This is my phone here. I was walking around with it like that. Now, it's very hard to try and touch the button to take photos. It was going off on its own. I looked at them when I got home. They were so clear.
Wow.
I looked at mine and they were blurry. And I'm like, great. Spirits take better photographs than what I do. So every time I go there, now, Charles, do us a favour. Take some photos for us, please.
Awesome.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah,
Okay,
can't
well,
believe
hey,
it.
you've got your own photographer there, so
Yeah.
that's
we
very
have a
cool.
We
I
have
was
a
going to say the
question.
question in the chat. Yeah. Go
Yeah.
ahead.
So, David, one of our listeners wants to know, are these spirits stuck here? Why don't they move on? They also come to her, but they don't communicate, and she's curious as to why they stay and what they want.
Right. The reason why they stay is probably because they've got unfinished business. They just want to look after loved ones still, even after they pass. It could be messages that they want passing on before they actually move on themselves. The reason why they do harm and not communicate is basically frustration. They're trying so hard to get through to you, but because you may not be able to be tuned into them to hear them or see them, they get frustrated. They get annoyed. So the only way they feel they can communicate is through throwing stuff, knocking stuff over. Unfortunately, scratching does happen. I've seen it myself personally.
They sound like cats.
It could very well be but then, to be honest, I know animals can communicate with us,
Of
and
course.
they can communicate with us in English or in whatever language we speak. It's just the way we translate the energy.
I'm just teasing. In other words, they
Yeah.
throw
No,
things,
it
knock
could well
things
be though.
off the tables, and they scratch sometimes. That's my
But it
household.
could be the free paws as well, because you
What?
usually get free scratches. So it could just be the paws and they've scratched you.
Oh, I have
So it could
scratched
still
all
be
over me.
cats. Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go.
No,
I have
absolutely.
7 cats, so.
Doesn't have to be necessarily human spirit. It could be an animal spirit trying to get in touch.
But
That's
no, no,
right.
I have 7 incarnate cats.
Yeah.
And I
We
have
have
many,
lots of
many
animals.
discarnates that visit me. So
Yes, exactly. We have plenty of spiritual spirit animals that visit my house too, and they haven't scratched me because my kitties are very well behaved, but I do love it when they visit and hang out with me. So it's fun. It's nice to feel that continuity, with your kitties, your pets that may have crossed, to know that they're still with you and they're still connecting with you and snuggling with you, and so. I personally
absolutely.
love that. Yeah, and I know that, other people enjoy that as well. And so, David, I was also curious about, I know that you have lots of new projects that you're working on. We had talked a little bit about your school you were talking about for kids and your book. And so maybe you could share with our listeners a little bit about that too.
Yeah, with the school, I got so fed up because I know there's more and more kids getting involved in this,
Uh-huh.
and they've not really got anywhere to go. They trespass into abandoned buildings and
Hmm.
do all sorts, and then claim they're like doing ghost hunts and all this. The only reference they've got is basically TV shows, which do
Right.
things very quickly, so they take loads of shortcuts.
Hmm.
They even go back and refilm stuff if they don't get anything. So I thought, why don't I give them a safe place to learn about this? So one of the main things I want to teach is respect. Respect for the spirits, respect for
Yeah.
buildings, respect for other people's opinions.
Hmm.
Because there's one thing I learned very quickly when I started this journey. In the paranormal, people may disagree, but in the paranormal, there is no actual proven facts. It's only theory and experience that we can draw upon.
Mm.
We know they exist. Trying to actually prove it is probably one of the hardest things in the world, if not near impossible to do. But I know they exist. So all I've got basically is from what I've learned from my experiences and my theories that I've come up with. I cannot say 100% everything I know is a fact. I cannot say that.
Right.
So I thought, I want to give them a place to learn. I want to give them a place where they can learn about the equipment, getting permission, about going on to building sites and getting permission from owners. And then I thought, the perfect place for this, I mentioned it earlier, is Thanet House Museum, because it's got quite a nice big classroom. There's no roads to cross, which is a blessing.
Mm.
And just across the road from the classroom is the actual museum itself, which I know I can possibly use to see how the kids handle the equipment, how they conduct themselves, are they respectful? And I just thought it'd just be a good place for them to learn and actually getting proper interest in the paranormal and teach them that it's not all this get everything every week. Everywhere you
Yeah.
go, you're going to get voices, you're going to get orbs, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. Teach them it's not all that. It's loads of hours sitting around, possibly if you're not in tune with the energy, not knowing whether you're going to get anything or not until you get home, go through all the evidence,
Hmm.
and then come to a conclusion. So I just want to give them a safe place to learn. Parents are welcome to stay there. The door will be open all the time. Uh, only, I think it's only about 5, 10 footsteps away. There's a cafe.
Oh,
So the
wow.
parents can go out, just walk a couple of seconds, stay in the hall, get a cup of tea, coffee, something to eat, come back, sit down, and just continue. So the parents will be able to stay there. Everything's going to be open. I'm not doing it to scare them. I'm just doing it to help them understand so that they can learn from it.
Yeah, that sounds awesome. I mean, so if anybody is in, and which county are you in, or what's the closest town? If we have anybody watching that might have kids that might be interested in this.
It's going to be in Dagenham in Essex. I've not actually set up a date yet.
Okay.
I'll keep people updated, obviously on Facebook
David,
and things like that.
do you have a website?
Yeah, I was
I,
just going to
I
ask.
don't yet. All I've
Okay.
got basically is my Facebook and my Instagram. I don't really go on Twitter much now because that's just turned toxic.
All right. So everybody, if you're interested in following David and some of his paranormal investigations and this wonderful school, I think that's amazing. Just look up on Facebook or Instagram, David Cook, Cook.
Yep, no E.
No, wait. And I want to say, I think that's a great idea because in my town, or actually the town next to me, we have something. It's an abandoned Kings Park psychiatric hospital where, in its heyday, they did a lot of lobotomies and other electronic, to people who were not of sound mind. They really tortured them and traumatized them.
Yeah,
So,
electrosis.
in fact, probably spirit manipulated my GPS. Last week, I had to go to an appointment and I never drive through there, and it had me go there, right? And we're going to have this paranormal talk today in the show. And I could see the ghosts, the energetic imprints of some of the patients who had tried to escape, things like that, as I was driving through to get to the next town. And the problem is some of the teenagers, that's like the thing they want to do. They want to go break.
Right.
Yes, one of my students who's an amazing Reiki Reiki practitioner. She's here today, and she's had a lot of difficulty from the energies that come from that because she lives about 2 minutes away. But the kids, they're teenagers, so their hormones are all over the place. They are highly emotional. They're going in there because they want to get scared. So they're putting out that energy to attract that. And it's a very bad recipe on top of it being a dilapidated building. So I'm very happy that you're going to offer an alternative for the kids in your area to learn it grounded, to see this is scientific research and it's providing some evidence, whether it's full evidence or not, depending on your interpretation, that life does not end with the physical death, that you will continue to exist. So I think that's grand, as Mavis Spatilla would say.
Yeah.
That I'm all about education. That's my platform. And it's great that you're going to work with teenagers because they're the ones that, between their brain development in wanting to take risks at that age. And in England, you've got a lot of haunted places because everything is so old.
Yeah.
In fact,
Exactly.
Where I live, we've got some abbey ruins that date back to 666 AD.
wow. I've been there because Tony used to live there and he had his soul space school over there um in Essex, but now he's moved. What was I going to say? Oh, I went on a tour with my daughters. My oldest was going to be living in the University of Edinburgh. So we did a tour, and then at the end of the tour, she went to the dorm. And when we got into Ireland, the Ireland stop, I had wanted to do a paranormal investigation, we'll join one of the ghost hunts with my one daughter. And we didn't get there in time with the tour bus. And I was lamenting this to the hotel staff. I said, darn, I wanted to go on the ghost hunt. And they said, well, we have a haunted floor on the fifth floor. I said, well, I'm a medium. So they opened up a closed floor for me. And I did my own investigation, even though I missed the actual ghost hunt. But yeah, so even when, spirit will provide.
Well, it just
That
goes to
is
show that you was
awesome.
meant to be there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
just, it was kind of a funny thing because then, I was in my room. The girls had their own room and I had a room. And I'm looking, and I'm in the shower, and I see this little spirit boy walking around the room. I said, "Oh, there are ghosts here."
Of course, of course. And not to cut you off, Winter, but I know we're running out of time and I have guess so I'm looking down, I'm checking my Facebook, and there are people that had questions for David
Oh, I'm
or
sorry.
were interested in reading. So I wanted to at least offer to the Zoom room. And there is an Anne Iva that was asking about a psychic question. So Anne, if you are still listening, please put it in the chat. And I can ask David, or I don't know if there's anybody else on here that has a question or maybe would like a reading from our guest.
Linda, who's been with us in the Zoom room, did ask if anyone had something for her. Linda, could you wave and put your microphone
There
on?
she is.
Dave could.
Yep, we
Okay.
can see Linda.
Can we hear you, Linda? I can't hear you.
She's muted.
Okay.
Here she goes.
All
Can you
right.
hear me now?
Yes. How are you,
Perfect.
my love? Do you have a question for David?
I've been getting weird things happening to my computer, my cell phone, and a fan that can't be turned on without having to really press hard on it. They all turn on by themselves. Alarms start going off on my cell phone for no apparent reason.
Do you know a sergeant major?
Who?
Anyone that was in the army, a sergeant major?
One of my uncles was in the army. I don't know what rank he was.
I've got a feeling that he's the one doing it. 'Cause he's not very technically minded, is he? And he basically he's got such an inquiring mind. What does this do? What does that do?
Okay.
That's funny.
As soon as I don't mean no disrespect, but as soon as I saw your camera, it was like someone in the army was standing behind you to attention, and he's really. How are you doing that? How are you able to see him and talk to him? What's going on? You know, how's this happening? You know, he's got a very inquiring mind. He's a highly intelligent man,
Mm.
and he's trying to figure out answers as to how all this is happening and what's going on.
Okay, okay.
And it seems like he was a sergeant major in the army.
Okay, then it's got to be my uncle then.
Very well presented man, very
Okay.
disciplined. And
Okay.
he's what's that? Yeah, he said, I've got no idea what's going on.
That's so funny.
That is funny.
He's like,
Yeah.
how can you see me? He's literally coming right up to the cameras like that. It's like,
Cool.
That's so cool. See, I love it when we have guests because we do a lot of the readings, Winter and I, but it's so great when we have someone come on and do some readings for us, David.
he,
That's
he,
fabulous.
he's amazed by all this. He really is amazed.
Good.
So, Mari, if you don't have someone right away, Jen.
I do, but you can
Oh, okay.
go. Have
Oh,
Jen, and then I have Anne Iva
Thank you
had
so
a
much,
question.
guys.
Oh, of
thanks
course, of
thanks for
course.
tuning in.
Yeah, thanks
Okay,
for
Jen is in
joining.
the Zoom room. And I know for a fact she's the one that lives near the psychiatric hospital. So she's had trouble with this stuff. Can you please do a reading on me? Pictures fall off walls, and I'm wondering if any messages come through for me.
Right, the pictures off walls, and you live near the hospital.
Mm.
It may not be related, but
No, but I've got a feeling it's just someone wandering in, someone just passing through.
Yeah.
And I've got a feeling the time frame that they come from, that wall was not there. So as far as they're concerned, they're not walking through the wall. So whatever's going to be on that wall is probably going to end up falling off because they're just basically walking through it. They're not seeing what's actually there. So I think when it actually comes to that, it's going to be unavoidable The only thing I think you can suggest for that is don't have anything on that wall.
It's the same wall too. Sometimes the books fly
Yeah.
off the shelf falls. It's the same wall. It's in my daughter's room, unfortunately for her. So all
Oh,
kinds of
bless
stuff
her.
happen.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that that's not going to stop. As soon as you put anything on that wall, it's just going to come off again because it feels like it's a pathway.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
you
don't
know,
think you got anything to fear there. It's just passing through. I
well,
don't
it's
feel anything
interesting.
bad.
As you're saying that, David, just to interject, because I kept hearing the word truck driver, and on the road again. So I feel like whatever the spirit is with someone like that would have been traveling, maybe had some type of route. I don't know. And I don't normally hear songs, but I just kept hearing like on the road again. No one wants to hear me sing, but and I kept getting truck driver. So I feel like somehow that's connected to this piece. And that makes sense as David was saying, passing through. So it feels to me like there's some spirit that is passing through the wall, but also sort of passing through that, that area where you live, if that's helpful at all. Didn't mean to cut you off, David. Sorry. I
No,
just
no, no.
wanted
I'm
to
glad you
add
did.
that. So
No,
yeah,
I'm glad
that's
you
what I
did.
was sort of picking up. Yeah.
Right, can I
Thank
get
you.
anything else for you?
No, that's very interesting though. So yeah, sort of chew on that a little bit and see if anything else comes of that, Jen, because that's sort of the information. I feel like that David and I were linking up a little bit on that. And I don't it doesn't also feel harmful to me either, just maybe more annoying. And so maybe when that happens again, like I have to do with my Nana and my aunt, I'm like, okay, guys, this is enough. Like I'm trying to just sleep here. Can you
Yeah.
chill on this, please? And a lot of times when you ask them nicely, or maybe ask him if he can move to a different section of the house or the garage or someplace that's not going to bother you, a lot of times they are willing to comply. Not always, but if they're like, okay, well, as long as I can sort of be in the area, maybe a place that would be less disruptive than your daughter's room. You can always ask them.
Yeah, 99% of the time you work out a compromise.
Yeah,
Just
exactly.
sometimes it's 1% that the spirit is just
Stubborn.
so hurt from an experience in life,
Mhm.
that part of them, because their soul is up in heaven, but that part of their personality that was so damaged and hurt is what's remaining. And they're just injured souls, aspects of souls.
Yeah, I've noticed when I first was talking to you how I would start to see the colors and the faces would kind of like now that stopped mainly, but I've noticed when I'm talking to certain friends and I'll hang up the phone and I'm about to fall asleep. Recently I saw my friend, it must have been her grandmother because it looked just like her. And I called her right back and I'm like, I think I just saw your grandmother, and I described her to her. And she's like, that's definitely my grandmother. I mean, she looked just like my friend. It was interesting. So it's starting to be less of invasive and more direct.
You can set an
Right.
appointment with spirit. Spirit is just
Exactly.
there. So you can say, I don't want to have connections, all of the time. I'll do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 7. And
Right.
for the most part, spirit's going to work with you because you're living in earth life and you have to get sleep for your physical body. So you don't drive the car off the road. You have to
Yes.
work to support yourself. Spirit's going to work with you. And I am going to set up some classes soon.
Yes.
Because I have 3 people asking me. So I'm going to do them probably for March. I just haven't picked the days yet. So,
Thank
but
you all.
Mari has
Awesome.
somebody that has
I do. Someone in the chat, and I don't know if this is your wheelhouse, David, but I'm going to throw it out to you. There's an Ann Iva, and she said she is looking for love. I don't know if she's asking you specifically, but she said she's looking for love. Do you see a romance with any of my male friends that I know? And, maybe you have some feedback on that. If not, I'm sure Winter or I could be happy to take it. But that is her question.
My initial reaction is unfortunately not. They see
Okay.
you as a sister. They love you very, very much. They love you so dearly. They don't want anyone to hurt you. They really are going to look after you, but they do see you as a sister. They don't really see any kind of romantic way. But, however, got this feeling there will be someone that's going to come into your life soon.
Right.
And let's see, come on. I know I do apologise, but come on. Do you think you can? Yeah, yeah. They're going to come into your life soon. I haven't got no description for you yet, but it's going to feel right. It's going to feel like, yes, this is it, and he is going to feel the same. He may not show it at first because he's going to be a bit shy. He's going to be a bit cautious because he's been hurt in the past himself. But I've got a feeling sometime soon. I wish I could put a date on it for you. I really wish I could. All I know is sometime soon someone's going to come into your life. So just be patient with him. But I've got a feeling you will find it soon.
Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. I was getting a similar feeling as well, Anne. I hope you're still, that's why I keep looking down at my Facebook to see if she's commenting. I get the same feeling as well, David. I feel like we're synced up on that. I do feel like something's coming. He keeps saying 6 to 8, so it feels like 6 to 8 weeks, not months. It does feel like sooner. But again, it almost feels like, because you were asking Anne about, she said, thank you, David. So she's still listening. On the Facebook side of things. But I do feel like it's coming, but it almost feels to me like it could be somebody from the past that you knew. So it might be that friend from the past that you haven't seen in 20 years coming back. And you're like, oh, yeah, I know we knew each other in high school or something like that. It almost has that feeling of something like that to me. So, so Anne, keep us posted. And she's grateful for your reading, David.
Actually, I'm going to make it a triple play.
Let's make a triple play. Let's go.
I can validate what Mari's feeling because I just kept hearing March when David was talking. However, our predictions are based upon Anne releasing what her desired outcome and allowing the universe. He's standing there. Exactly. But he's not going to come in unless you're willing to open up to new possibilities. Because I know you have your heart set on one in particular. So since David mentioned his feeling is more friendship on that one, you need to let go of that outcome and just be open. And then I see Mari's 6 to 8 weeks, which coincides with what I was feeling March. But that won't happen if you're not going to be open to it, because you're still focused on the two friends. So you got a little bit of work. This is a new moon, so put it out there what you want. You're the dragon.
And I love it. She says thank you. She says she is open and she will work on that. So she appreciates that, all of our feedback. So, well, wow, it's already after 4. I mean, I feel like we could do a whole nother hour with you, David. I know. Well, we'll have to have you back. It's been so great. So, yeah, I don't know if you have any last few things you'd like to leave with us, David, before you sign off, or any new things you have coming up you want to tell us about.
I've got documentaries coming up about my town, the history of it. I've got my book that I'm still writing. I've got 40 years to go over, so it's still taking a while. Yeah, I've got school coming up, still planning that. I may even take the school online. So if any kids are interested, let me know. I'll make a plan up for that as well. Other than that, if you do need any help and you think I can help you in any way, shape or form, look me up on Facebook, David Cook. On Instagram, it's David Cook 73. Send me a message. If you do send me a message, can you please give me some sort of title with it? Because I get so many scam messages. Yeah. And if it's just a simple hello or hi, I probably won't answer it, to be honest. It'll probably just get deleted. But if you say you see me on here, someone recommended me, or just give me a paranormal question in general, then I will answer it as soon as I can. If I don't answer straight away, it's probably because I'm at work, because I work very weird hours indeed. But I will get back to you as soon as I can, and I will help in any way that I can.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being on. It's been such a pleasure. It's amazing. I know we always like to sort of wrap up and give our last few things we have coming up. Next week, I am going to be back with the amazing June Elaine Evans on Bridge Between Two Worlds on the 13th, 7:30 Eastern. And I have a very special event in April. I'm doing Animals and Angels, Messages from the Afterlife with Kimberly Meredith, who we had on the show a couple of months ago. It's a small group circle of readings, guaranteed readings for everybody. That will be on my website. For that information, it's mediummari.com. All my events, everything is on my website, mediummari.com. And I have a couple other podcasts that are coming up in March and April as well. But all the information is on there. And I know Winter must have a plethora of things that she wants to tell us about, and do our card of the month. We forgot.
Yep. Nope. Got the card ready.
Awesome. All right.
I'm using the fairy deck because, in honor, I love fairies. Mm-hmm. And actually, David, have you been to physical seances?
I've been to one.
So they're really cool. I love physical. And when I transfigure, sometimes they get transfigured. I work with elementals. My ear pulls out. My nose turns up like a little fairy. So
the one I went to, he was not good at all. I'm sorry, but he wasn't.
Oh, so sorry. But there's some good ones out there. But I do transfiguration, and I love working with them. And so I'm using the fairy deck by Doreen Virtue and Rudolph Valentine, because that's also my dad's name. And they're pretty pictures. It's the 4 of Autumn. And it was kind of, this is the beginning of the Chinese New Year. We're doing the Year of the Dragon, which I just identify with dragons. And our late friend George, remember George?
Yeah.
He always saw dragons around me. So I thought it was because I was a retired attorney, with the fire through my mouth, but maybe it's something else. So the 4 of Autumn in this deck means comparing yourself to others can create confusion. You may not be seeing things as they truly are. You might feel as though you don't have enough when you're more blessed than you realize. So this is the part. Remember to give to those in need. Donating to the less fortunate creates a circle whereby you can also receive. All right, that's manifestation. And what you give comes back to you, the law of return. And this is a great time to set intentions on a new moon. Set the intention that you're going to create something or create the space to invite something you wish to have or experience. Can't guarantee the lottery numbers, but maybe an introduction to somebody who may have a profound impact on your life for the positive. So this is a great time to do it. We're in the start of a new astrological year. It's the Year of the Dragon. It's about creation. It's about a new direction. Be open to what I had Bindi come through when I sat in trance this week. And she told my group, let go of your perceived outcome. Let the universe bring you in something better. Okay, that's from the trance channeling. So events, I'm teaching trance, just a 2-hour class, so we won't get into all the topics, but at least a good primer. This Saturday for Camp Chesterfield, a good portion of the proceeds goes to support the camp, which is a spiritualist camp. What else am I doing? I'm going to be setting up probably a 4-week class session to teach mediumship because on Zoom, because I have people asking me for it. I just kind of got hung up with construction and stuff on my house. I'll be teaching a 1-on-1 physical mediumship online for Lilydale Assembly in April. A week after I get back from the International Physical Mediumship Conference, where Mari and I will be attending. I'm going to be a tutor for the conference, but I'm also going to be an eager student because, everybody has something to share and teach and give. I always equate teaching with giving. I go out and acquire knowledge or understandings, and I share them with whoever comes to see me. And so I'm going to be learning a lot. We're having like 4 of the top physical mediums in the world are going to be demonstrating, and then there's us who are going to be the tutors. So all topics. There are a couple of spaces that have opened up. If anyone's interested, please email me. You can go through my website, winterbrookmedium.com. And you can get in. This event had sold out in 8 days, but that was 9 months ago. And I'll be teaching in Lilydale in person over the summer. I've got a Eyes of Learning event, but that's for the local folks. That'll be June 14th. And that's it. So I'll let you go follow my Facebook page or my website. I'm trying to figure out how to get the new class on the website if you're interested in the mediumship development. And I'm actually going to be teaching animal communication and spirits use of animals and messages for Spirit School Vancouver come probably the end of May.
Very cool. Well, you have a lot of stuff coming on. I can't think that far in advance. I'm just trying to get through the next couple of months, but
I know.
it's you're
I'm
a
a
good planner.
workaholic.
I know you are. I know. I will have other things coming up. I'm hoping to teach some classes in the fall. Honestly, I've just been too crazy busy with my schedule and projects and work. So, but if you want to get a hold of me, it's mediamari.com. I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the places, YouTube, it's all Media Mari. You can find me. And again, huge round of applause to the amazing David Cook. And we would love to have you back on the show again if you would come. And yeah, keep in touch. If anybody has any questions, I tagged you in my Facebook posts. So if anybody wants to reach out and has questions for you, I'm sure he'd be happy to answer those.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'll share my experience for you.
We forgot to mention next
oh, that's right, we forgot.
Next show is going to be back on a Wednesday, March 6th, and we're going to have Gary Mannion as our guest. He was the co-facilitator putting the physical conference together in Albany, and we're going to talk physical mediumship, and he's also a tremendous healer, so healing too, and messages, of course.
That sounds fabulous. I can't wait. I made a note. I was like, yeah, I knew we had another one scheduled. I couldn't remember. So thank you, David, and thank you, Winter. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Sorry, we ran over, but it's been an amazing spirit chat. And thank you, everyone, for joining us.
Thank you. God bless.
Take care. Thank you. Bye.